All right, Arabian tuning, here we go. Super fun, gives you that Middle Eastern sound, really haunting, sweet style flute to play. Fingering, same as major scale, same as Aeolian. No holding the ring finger down in this scale. No holding the ring finger down, go straight up the scale, balance with pinkies and thumbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes lifted off, all of them. Balance that, and mouth helps stabilize, so it doesn't slip out of your hands. Top note, all fingers covered. That's the high G sharp in this case of the G sharp Arabian scale. So. One thing to keep in mind also about this, once you know those basic two things, you should be able to transfer your Native American flute playing experience over to this, just keeping those couple things in mind that I just mentioned. And other thing is hole spacing. The thing that makes, say, a G sharp flute be a G sharp Native American tune, major scale tune, Aeolian tune, or Arabian tune, it's all about position of holes. So, and you have to keep that in mind. Some people assume that all playing holes are supposed to be the same size and distance apart. That is not the case if you were to look at flutes from around the world. You have to, in order to create the different tunings, some holes have to be closer together, some have to be larger than others. In this case, the farthest finger spread is between the bottom two notes. And we already know, you beginners already know, that that is the most difficult place to have two notes be spread because it's far away from you. Some people get that cramping in the bottom hand right there. So being key specific for one that fits your hands properly, that's important. If you want to get a low E, and we've talked about this with Native American tune flutes too, you have to ask about the specs, the finger spacing from center to hole to center of the hole, so you can take a broomstick or whatever and make marks on there from where the mouthpiece is down to the bottom hole, and then the finger spacing in between. That way you can determine whether a key of E Arabian would fit you. This is a G sharp. I do a lot of higher keys like B, B flat, C, those ones. Those ones are relatively easy for most people. This right here, that's probably 1.5 inch finger spread, and that's just on a mid-range flute, a G sharp here. So again, keep that in mind when picking your flute, and keep that in mind that there's always going to be a relatively large hole. This is actually a pretty small compared to a lot of tunings, especially when you get into 1 inch diameter. This spacing, in order to keep it a little bit closer together, this hole has to get even larger. So be prepared to, if you get an Arabian flute, for this hole to be as large as close to 1/2 inch. So keep that in mind. If you got little fingers, inquire about what key would be a good key to fit your finger size and your hand size. And other than that, yes, you can usually achieve 1.5 octaves on something like this. There's 2 ways to achieve that. You can mess around with adjusting the fetish a little bit and just blow harder on the flute. I'll try that. This one has a pretty strong fundamental note. It doesn't blow over too easy. So getting that high octave range is a little bit tougher. I have to really push. Let's see what that sounds like. That's really pushing pretty hard there. So what you can do is this top hole right here, if you just roll that top finger slightly off, just a little crack, less than half uncovered, you will get the high octave note. I'll take it all the way off and show you what that would sound like, and it's not going to be quite right. See? So you have to only crack it just a little bit off, and you can get that usually 1.5 octaves or 1/2 octave on the high register. So I'll just slightly crack that open. That's going to take some practice. Again, you can just try blowing harder. different type of flutes. What I can do also is I can create a 3/4 bore, say a little bit longer, say an F sharp or an F, and we might be able to, just by blowing a little bit harder, easily get an octave and a half. There's some cases where I can even pull out um, two full octaves on some of these, especially like 1/2 inch diameter high keyed flutes. So again, it's great, it's fun. You can play rhythmically with this. I always like to play rhythmically on all my different tunings that I use, but also it's a real haunting, meditative sound, because there's holes or notes that are really close together, half step, and notes that are really far apart, step and a half, and that creates a really neat melody when you're playing. So belly dancing tunes, snake charmer tunes, people like to use that term. Really, really fun to give that Middle Eastern feel. So I'll just give it a play for you and see what you think. There it is. Okay, give one a shot. Always contact me if you got any questions about this, but hopefully that gets you a good start on how to play the Arabian tuned flute. All right, take care.